Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of ISA's podcast. And I am Amulya, and I'm an officer at Indian Students Association and a student at University of Texas at Dallas. For our very first episode, we have a very special guest, Professor Gaurav Shekhar. Professor Gaurav Shekhar has been at UT Dallas for in different perspectives, I would say. He's once been an international student, and today he's the Associate Dean at Jindal School of Management. So, Professor Gaurav Shekhar, for the viewers who might not know you, how would you want to introduce yourself?
I've been at UT Dallas for the longest time that I know, but I'm a professor here at UTD. My best thing that I do and I love doing is working with students. I feel students are the center of my life and the center of so many different things that happen around us. But I'm somebody who has made UT Dallas his home. I came here in 2015, and this place has been very kind to accept me as its own.
So, on campus, we see you in suit. You're always smiling with a bright smile, chill, fun conversations. But off the clock, without JSON, without the emails. So, what is Professor Gaurav Shekhar like?
Oh man, there's nothing that I do that is planned. I'm very bad at planning something well ahead of time and doing it. I have a few friends here in Dallas, some of whom I went to school with as well. So there could be a movie plan, or we might go doing something, not too much into reels, I'll be honest. I wake up I wake up to re- responses of my friends on Instagram as to what I've shared with them. So I have like 5, 6 of them, and depending on their taste, and it's like I now have muscle memory to share stuff. Like I know which part of my share I have to click on to send to which friend. So I wake up to that. Uh, Believe it or not, LinkedIn, people use it for networking. That's the first thing I do in the morning, not network, but I play LinkedIn games. 8 of them love it. That is like literally to get me started, get off to bed. Uh, People like reading. I like buying books a lot. I have some satisfaction that I have a book, even if it is unread for years and years. I keep buying them. So as you can see that it really depends on what I'm in the mood for that day. And Dallas has so much to offer, between my friends, my colleagues, and several community groups that I'm part of. I find something on the other to do. If nothing, I like taking care of my patio garden. So people, I don't say those are my pets, but I have 4 squirrels, 2 rabbits, a few birds. I think there's some mice in the night that come to my patio to eat. So my patio is filled with food and water for all those creatures. Uh, I now call myself a shareholder of DoorDash. After thousands of deliveries, you're not a customer anymore. I feel like a shareholder. It's like I must. And people blame DoorDash all the time. Whenever I complain about, putting some weight on, then I see DoorDash all the time. Well, the thing is, you can always order healthy stuff on DoorDash. But I feel experimenting with food and me ordering on DoorDash has got a very solid relation. I'm lazy to go out sometimes. Just don't feel like stepping out, but I would do this. Depending on what's happening in the week, sometimes, and again, this might sound very nerdy. One of my de-stressors is to write code.
Wow.
I, 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 I would pick up something, and these days with AI and all, it's like you are white coding all the time. You're trying to do something.
Yeah.
I try to seek problems around me that needs solutions, and that kind of motivates. But you know what? At any time in the night or day, I would just start it off. There are a lot of things that happen on a daily basis for me, so it's very difficult to pick up a routine. But I after when I see all of this, the larger scheme of things, I feel it's a blessing to be doing all these things. Being busy. So if you feel today you're busy and you've got lots of things to do and it is stressing you out, be thankful. Because I'm sure there are thousands of people who want to be as busy as you and may not have that chance. So thankfully, the school students like yourself, This is Sunday and we are sitting here and we are recording this, but I was looking forward to this for the entire week because spending time with students is my favorite time of whatever the day, week, month, year, whatever unit of time you want to put on that. But yes, I do get to do a lot of different things, meet a lot of different people. And yeah, that's it's like whatever life throws at you, accept it because it's happening to you for a reason. Yeah. Good or bad. There's nothing. I don't think so that we have anything in life to complain about. My mind always goes back to this very famous conversation. So Rod Laver, the guy after whom is a tennis legend, and the Australian Open arena is named after him. And he contracted cancer, and towards the last years of his life. And one of the journalists asked him this question that, uh, you know, don't you complain to God why it happened to you? And I think his response is something that I've taken so. Uh, I feel so deeply about his response. He said, there was a time I was stepping onto the court and I would win every match, every game. I had all the trophies that were there. And when I did not ask God, why me then? I will not ask why me now. So I just felt that even in a position of adversity, he was taking things as a gift. And that's what I try to do. So everything is a gift.
For sure. It is great to know about you and your mindset. I mean, it's lovely to see how much you embrace your inner child, like playing games, watching videos, you're happy, door dashing, happy, losing your fever, and you're just happy. So it's love to know that about you, sir. So we know that you once been an international student here at UT Dallas, right? So how was your student life back then, at UT Dallas back then, and in the US back then?
So people feel that, with time, things have got more challenging. I think the challenges are always there. When I see students getting frustrated with job applications, there's nothing new in that. It used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
There would be prolonged periods of time between an interview and an offer. That is still there. I see people talking about how many hundreds of applications they have made before they got a call. That used to happen then as well. I think a lot of things were similar. What I feel has changed is that with more and more students deciding to go for, I will not say just higher education, but just education as a whole, there's more support now. More support of alumni, more support of peers. I feel with every given year, there are more, the number of people that you can connect with and get meaningful guidance, especially from a student's perspective, that has already increased. The university has been growing tremendously, whether it is rankings, whether it is programs, whether it is engagement, whether it is student organization. I mean, you name it, the university has grown. Jindal School of Management here, which I'm part of, has grown tremendously. So I feel opportunities for students have grown. But to be honest, I feel the students, people like me and people who came to UTD before me, who are now doing so well in their lives all over the place, I don't think so there is any alum who's not benefited from their experience. And now they are the best mentors to the current students because they exactly know what happened. They can relate to a student's frustrations. They can relate to a student's aspirations. They can relate to what somebody wants to do. I think if I compare my time versus now, given all the new things that got added since, I feel our students are a little spoiled now. And in a good way, not in a bad way. I mean, there are more things to do, more things to, be a part of. And that's always good. Growth is good, and growth comes with its own challenges. It comes with opportunities. Just depends on how somebody wants to take it. But I feel not just UT Dallas, the best part is we are in Dallas. It's the 23rd largest economy in the world, in a state which is the 8th largest economy. I mean, if you talk about all the action in the industry that's happening, it's happening here. So our students are only benefiting from the growth. It's week 3 of the Texas Stock Exchange. And you know one thing, that stock exchanges just don't open in a city if that city is not something important. And Dallas, Fort Worth, or Texas as a state is extremely important to our economy, not just the US. So I feel any student who's here at UT Dallas or in this region, North Texas, I feel North Texas is definitely super hot right now with opportunities. Uh, and when I say opportunities, somebody who's listening to this might think that uh, what what do you mean really by opportunity? Is it about really jobs? It's not just jobs. The amount of avenues now for people to pursue entrepreneurship, for example, has increased significantly. The amount of people that are ready to meet others who have an idea that can be productized has increased significantly. So I feel that is where this region has grown in terms of becoming bigger than what it was for everybody. Yes, not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. That's fine. You want to pursue a career with an organization. There are several of them here. So I do feel that it has changed for the good. And this change, the only thing that can change is, for me, of course, the point of reference is 11 years ago. Then also, if you wanted something, you had to put your best foot forward. Now also is the same thing. Yeah. If you're looking for 100, 100K is the magic figure. To get 100K, it requires 200K of effort. Not just, it's a figure of extra. It's not that you have to spend that money, but if you want one, you need to put in two. And I feel that hasn't changed much. Right. That's something that people should put in mind.
I feel like international students coming in now, you might have noticed less enrollment as international students here at UT Dallas. And fear of politics or how the job situation or the market is, they're saying that it's always been hard. So what do you have to say to assure students who are coming in now to study at UT Dallas?
I think it's a very important question right now, because given that US has always been one of the most welcoming countries in the world, especially for students, this is a different time. The drop in enrollment from international students is not just a UT Dallas thing. It's something that every institution is facing right now. Yeah. And every institution goes through these kind of motions, whether, sure, it's enrollment right now, but something or the other is always happening. Good or bad, all 3 years ago, we had the biggest class of international students, if you're specifically focusing on that. 2022, 2023, it flew through the roof. So, at some point, if it's high, there is low, there is hard, there is cold. It is the law of duality always kicks in. But I'm not saying that people should not be hopeful about what is there in the future. Of course, right now also, there are opportunities for international students to come down. Yeah. Of course, US is trying to see what is best for the interests of US. The politicians are looking into that, lawmakers are looking into that, institutions are looking into what is best for the US economy. And immigration, of course, is a product of that. And immigration is a tool to serve the interests of the country. And this is not just the US, it's in any part of the world, right? You allow people to come into your home when there are certain needs. It is again a privilege. And that is something one has to realize. It's a privilege, it's not a right. So somewhere, the government at all levels or the institutions are taking note of what is the best way for them to welcome people into that. Yeah. If there are students who are looking to pursue higher education, please know those doors are not closed. They're there. They are still existing. Institutions are there. And, the best thing to do is just, what do you control? You control a good application. You control just making sure you put your best foot forward. And whether it's a university giving you admission or the US giving you a visa, it all depends on, how well you make sure that you apply it. And that's the only thing somebody can control. For us as well, there are things we control. What do we control? We control the quality of the education that we give to our students. But anything that comes from the lawmakers, yes, if there are concerns, the university always puts those opinions out through the right channels to our lawmakers. And, in a lot of cases, those statements have worked in the favor of what the university wants. Again, we can only request, and it is up to the right people to make the decision. But again, within the confines of the law, I think whatever is doable, everybody at their own level, they try to do that, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that any avenue is lawfully permitted. But as far as, especially if to your question, you talked about students, I think for them, the most important thing and the only thing that they can control is their application to the different institution. And that's what they should care about. Uh, I mean, another thing that goes hand in hand is the job market. The job market has been different. I would not say tough or easy, because it depends on, you got a job, it's an easy market. You didn't get a job, it's very relative, I feel. Um, it has been tough, but at the same time, there are people who are getting jobs. It might not be flowing at the same rate, but there is need for talent, and the right talent is getting this one. A lot of times I do see this, that students who have very actively pursued opportunities, they make sure they're networking with the right people, they are at the right events, they are applying in the right way, are getting those calls and those offers. And is it something new? Not really. 11 years ago also it was the same, and now it is also the same.
So you were once an international student here at UT Dallas, right? And we also know that you were a part of Indian Students Association.
Yes, I was.
Yes.
I was a general secretary.
Okay, so you should speak a little bit of your experience here in this ISA, in that case.
This ISA and that, all ISAs are good. There's nothing wrong with any of the ISAs. In fact, every ISA or every team has only made sure that they are better in terms of how they're doing things for the students. And that's how it is. It should be, right? Every new team brings in a new set of, they have their own charm, and they make sure that the needs of the students are met. And ISA have always been a front runner in terms of making sure that students feel at home. I mean, all the good stuff that you guys do in terms of the cultural events or the social events, or just being there for the students. I mean, I would say that when I first came here, I was picked up from the airport by ISA. And I found out later that ISA was in fact put together in 1996 for airport pickups. That was the number one thing why ISA became an organization. So, and that hasn't changed till now. I mean, it has just gotten better with more partners. But ISA has always been like a go-to organization for it, especially for Indian students. Not just Indian students. I've seen so many other students of other nationalities that have found friends and they've found support through ISA, which is a great thing. At the end of the day, you serve everybody. Service before self is ISA's motto, and you do a good job in making sure that everybody is served. But I feel ISA has done, it's not, I don't think of it as just a cultural organization. It is also somebody who advocates for students. I remember during my time, one of the things that we advocated for, and we got it successfully done by the end of that year, was a new bus route. Believe it or not, the Frankfurt Road route did not exist.
Okay.
And everybody used to be on McAllen Boulevard. And there used to be safety-related issues, all sorts of things that were happening. And we wanted to encourage students to go to other places. And Frankfurt had those two large communities there where thousands of students now live. But they would not go there because there was no bus. So ISA advocated. We all advocated for the bus route to be changed. And by the way, the bus route is not like, a few people raise their hand and they said, can you take the bus from another street? And it just happens. It required UT Dallas and DART to talk about the need. Yeah. And there were several instances where we had to go and advocate the need to right folks. They started a pilot route to get some occupancy, and then eventually it became a permanent route. But that was one. instance of advocating for students, right? I remember that year there was a big flood in Chennai. It's December of 2015. There were massive rains around that time, and there were major floods. And because of that, lots of banks were shut down for several days, several weeks. And the payment deadline was right up there. I remember I sort of advocated with the Bursa. I mean, the Bursa has been a wonderful, wonderful partner. They extended the due date not only for students who were in those areas, but for anybody who was from India, just because they knew that there were, you know, people were affected. Even if you don't live in that region, but in that country, you're still affected in some way or the other. And they were very generous to do that. But again, for the right authorities to know about that, there needed to be somebody who could advocate on behalf of students. And ISA did that. Yes. These were the two instances that I remember for sure. There were more, but what I'm getting to is that ISA has always been the voice of students. And like that, there are several other student organizations that do a wonderful part of not just putting together cultural events, social events, but also advocating for what the students need. And I think it is definitely ISA's core value, but it also is UT Dallas's core value that is embodied by several student organizations, almost everybody out there. When you look after for others, that's when you feel the most gratification that you have done something that has helped others. One thing I remember was being with ISA was like a full-time job. So much to do. But we used to do it, with a lot of joy in our hearts because this was something we felt so strongly about. Yeah. And the office would have made sure that, even if we had a few people sometimes falling behind, we all pulled the weight together and supported each other. Yeah. And with every ISA that has come in, I've seen the same spirit, and the spirit only getting better. Yeah. Of course, sometimes we have to pull the weight harder. But, c'est la vie. That's how it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, ISC is a wonderful community, and I'm so glad I got into it the first semester I was here. But we are happy that happened. Yes. Yeah, and you've spoken about some nice stories that show how ISA follows service before self. Yes. But what about some fun stories of how you enjoyed being a part of ISA when you were a student? And even now, you're a faculty advisor. ISA meant good Indian food. Free good Indian food. Those 4 words together mean a lot. Now, I remember some of the festivals like Ganesh Chaturthi would draw in 700, 800, 900 students. They would come to the event and we would have the best food. We had the Gurudwara at Abraham's Road. They used to help us with the utensils to cook. Mm-hmm. So all the food used to be cooked there in the kitchen, and our students would bring it here. Yeah. There are lots of parties. I will not go into detail, but all sorts of fun parties. We used to have an after-event party for all the events, and that party was something that, we had 2-3 houses that was select for it. Of course, we broke all the occupancy laws in those days, but it was fun. Yeah. I remember the first semester I was here, we hosted, this was spring of 2015. I think it was a World Cup around that time. Mm-hmm. It was the World Cup, or it was I don't know what series it was. Maybe it was a World Cup. It was the India-Pakistan match. And in my 1-bedroom apartment, there was no inch on the carpet that was left unoccupied. We had people there in the kitchen, they were just watching everything. I think we had the police came in because of the loud noise complaint. Maybe twice. And then the third time we felt like this is getting a little out of control on our end because there were so many of us in the apartment, of course. The neighbor that was complaining about it, I remember someone just went there just to apologize that, we had caused all this. And he asked what exactly was going on because we didn't know what was happening. So we said, we told him what exactly was going on. And the next thing we know is we had to ask one person to get up from wherever they were sitting so that we can make space for him to sit. And he enjoyed the rest of the match with us.
Wow,
And that was his first time sitting with a bunch of students, even though he knew that, there are lots of UTE students around. First time sitting with students, had Indian food, and enjoyed something that he was constantly telling us about baseball or the NFL as to how his favorite teams evoke similar emotions. So I felt that was one of the first experiences where we could see, you know, this is not just about Indian students. It's beyond it. It's about the community. And every now and then, a good number of, folks that are not of Indian origin or from India, they come and join us for our events. And that number only grows. I mean, we see all sorts of people. I'll tell you, sometimes I feel like an ISA event is like a United Nations event. You have people from several nationalities who are there just enjoying Indian culture. And I think it's important because people need to, I mean, if whatever culture, your organization has members from, people should share it. Mm-hmm. Culture only gets better by sharing. Mm-hmm. And knowing about others as well. Yeah. So many times I've seen, and this has happened for all the years I've been here, during Thanksgiving, a lot of the students who don't know what an American Thanksgiving looks like. There are lots of local churches that would invite students to their homes of their members just so that they can enjoy a Thanksgiving meal. And I think somewhere those friendships, they happen because of whatever they were doing at UT Dallas or through an event at UT Dallas or something that happened at UTD. I think that's what truly the community can do. Yeah. It's just bring people together, make them feel safe, make them feel welcomed. Mm-hmm. Hear about their culture, share theirs, mm-hmm. and just become friends. Yeah. I feel like if you are at a university which has such diverse student groups, it's important to use that opportunity to experience all these opportunities that are there, all these cultures that are there. Absolutely. Yeah. And I say such a warm community, and we give the opportunity to make people feel home away from home, and for people who want to embrace our culture to come enjoy and see what we do. So it is wonderful. And I'm sure your neighbor had the most memorable experience. And when he left, he was happy. So I'm sure I enjoyed spending that time. Yeah. So for student organizations like ISA or the multiple ones that you are the advisor to, and anything that is trying to build a community and trying to feel a sense of purpose and trying to help other students, what do you think is required for that organization to succeed? Or what kind of advice would you hold for those people? I think people should not shy away from trying something new. At the end of the day, every student organization exists for a purpose, and you should stick to your core mission, your core values. That's important. But at the same time, remember, we all have a role in the community. The faster we realize that, the happier we are. And that role, it doesn't mean that you have to act like somebody else. Act like yourself. Know what your organization is good at, and support the overall mission of the community. A lot of times what happens is I see when it could be individuals, it could be groups, it could be organizations. When they try to compete for the same spot, collaboration takes a hit. Collaboration doesn't mean that you have to be always present and you have to always be the primary. Sometimes collaboration is just about being that support in the back, and that nobody gets to see your face in the front, but you're still supporting something which is much bigger than yourself. I think organizations should realize what they're doing needs to have longevity as well. If it is just focused on a few people, and it is focused on the efforts of a few people, and when those few people are not there and the organization crumbles, I feel that is the weakest example of leadership. Mm-hmm. Leadership is when you're not in the room, but what the organization wants to do is still done. And I think sometimes we forget that. Sometimes it just becomes about a handful of folks. And that's where the goal of the organization, the reason why we exist, the intentionality takes height. So I feel any organization who wants to survive should think about long-term picture. Ideate a setting where you're not present and what's happening. If you try to work with that in mind, you will always keep the organization first, because in your plan, it is not focused on a person or a group of people. It is focused on the organization. See, I feel a lot of times people fail to see the big picture. It's very easy to say, oh, focus on the big picture. But the question is, what is the big picture? What is your big picture? My big picture are different. You're maybe much bigger, much more valuable than my picture. I'm very focused on certain things. But I always tell people, one of my personal goals is to have 10,000 people at my funeral. A day, I don't know how it will look like, but I want 10,000 people at my funeral. And the reason is very simple. People come to your funeral only if you've done something meaningful for them, or their loved ones, or their families. If you haven't done anything for them, the day you're gone, nobody will care about you. I want to do enough that people feel that, yes, there was something that happened in their lives. Is it related to money? Probably not. Money, I feel, the older I'm getting, I'm realizing how, I'm not saying it is the most, but it is not the best thing to go after in life. The purpose is much higher than something like money. And I think that's where this whole spirit of community impact comes back to me over and over again. And what can we do to make the community better? Because the community and that spirit in the community will outlive everybody. There are people 100 years before us that did something that is still alive. And we talk about that. But, when you die, people don't come to your funeral because you were a good coder, or you were a good speaker, or you were a good manager, whatever it is. Nobody ties your impact to your profession. They tie your impact to what you have done for them. The other thing that's important is, I give you a number 10,000 just to say it's a big number, but don't count. Never count. Never keep a track of people you've done something for. Anybody I personally feel if you come to me, the answer is not no. We'll figure it out. Now, my no is very labored. If I have to say no to somebody, that means I've gone through the whole process of figuring out, can this be done? If it is really a no, then I'm the bearer of the bad news. But it isn't no. So again, I'm also learning. I learn things all the time. I get forgiveness from my mentors, my teachers, and I try to give that to my students. Every time I feel like, why a student is doing something, you can harm those emotions. Somebody who's my teacher or mentor would forgive me for something that just humbles me. I'm like, okay, if you've done that to me, I better, I can't keep that forgiveness just to myself, to pass it on. Yeah. So it's a good position to be in, because, you cannot be a giver all the time. You have to be a receiver. And I feel that I give half of what I receive. So thank you to my teachers for letting me make mistakes so that I could learn. You know what? It happens so many times that I can't even tell you, but I'm grateful I have those teachers and mentors in my life. Yeah. One of them is right here in the school, Dean Perkul. Dean Perkul he's my teacher. I was never in a class that he taught, but I think the class I am in right now, in which he is the teacher, that's a class of life. And so there's several of my teachers here at UT level, but the one that I can fondly never stop giving credit to is Dean Perkul. And he's not just I'm one of the thousands of people that have received his blessing. UT Dallas, the Jindal School, this is the 30th year of him being the dean of the school. I think higher education has gained a lot because of a person like himself, or visionary like him. Yeah. And now, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I can see the entire stretch of the Jindal School of Management. I can see that, that this whole establishment, the school, which is so highly ranked, it's because of a person like him. And of course, UT Dallas has gained a lot. Higher education has gained a lot. Our Metroplex, North Texas, you name it, has gained a lot from his leadership and in being there. And the best thing I like about him is kind. Anybody that I talk to has, if there's a common thing that they say about him is, he's kind. I think those are one of the things I want to embody on him. Kindness.
So you've been a student here,
Yes.
and you probably had professors and lecturers and different experiences. And at the same place, you are now a professional, right? So have you had an experience where you worked with a person who was once your professor or teacher or mentor, and now you're just working with them in like a similar setting where you are also one of them?
Yes. And, there are days it is easy, there are days it's difficult because, you're still thinking of yourself as the student. Here are a few people that I took their classes. So my first professor in my first semester, Dr. Avanti Seki, I took his stats class. Dr. Tana once, I took her SAPM. And then there was Dr. Sumit Majumdar. I took the BDW class, whose undergrad version I've been teaching since 2017. Professor Judd Bradbury. It was, who else was it? Dr. Thuin. I took his Agile Project Management. Dr. Ganesh Janakiraman, Professor Atanu Lahiri, all of these folks, I took their classes. It's good. My two co-associate deans for the school, Dr. Owens and Dr. Marthu, and I took their classes. In fact, I was the teaching assistant for Dr. Don Owens. And I say she was the reason why I got into teaching, because she was the one who gave me my first opportunity to be a part-time lecturer here. Mm-hmm. So I think she really pushed me into something that I had no plans for, but I'm glad it happened. So it's good. It's a very good experience. Sometimes it's very difficult to call them by their names, like Dr. Ganesh Jankilana. I took his operations management, one of the best classes I took. And I just cannot use his first name to address him. And he has told me a million times to do that. Every time I chat with Dr. Sethi, Avanti Sethi, I can't call him by his first name because, that's the place he has in my mind. My faculty boss, Dr. Sham Menon, it took me so much time to call him by his first name. I think he almost threatened me once. I need to do that, but it's like, you hold them with so high, with so much, you have so much regard for them that it's difficult. And I think that's my way of just making sure that I remind myself that I was their student. And yeah, nothing to be ashamed of. I'm very proud that I got to be in the class with these professors. I'm remembering another one, by the way, Dr. Karan Ramanathan, Professor Jeff Hicks. Professor Jeff Hicks taught a class on this was BPS 6360, management and organizational consulting class. And when I created the digital consulting project class, I used him as an inspiration for that class. So again, a lot of things I've done on campus, I feel their work. So the people behind that are my colleagues now. Thank you for the memory.
Okay, so we've gone over lessons and leadership, right? Mm-hmm. So what is one leadership lesson that probably changed the way you look at leadership or how you lead people?
The easiest thing to do is judge people. And I judge people as well. I still do it. I would say that with every experience that I go through, or every year, the amount of judging I do is lesser because I realize there are some things that are not known to you right then and there. People's circumstances, what was happening with them. I think just a little bit of kindness helps. Understanding their perspective helps. Uh, my thing with students particularly is that university. I'm not saying that you must make mistakes, but university should be a safe place to make mistakes. We all come from a point of care. We want to support you, and that's what I feel like. That how much can we give that support to a student? Because at the end of the day, if it makes their lives better for the longer period of time, and they are able to share the same forgiveness with others, I think you've done something that has created a positive ripple. And that's what I think about. I embrace every new opportunity thinking this is a start to something new. A lot of things have happened where you cannot connect A to Z. But if you say no to A, Z will never happen. So you have to, I'm not saying you have to be a yes man, but you have to, if you say yes to it, stick to it. Doesn't matter how difficult it gets, stick to it. I think that's one thing that I've tried to do better at.
So tell us a little bit about your professional life. And since you've been in different stages of higher education, how has each role changed your perspective on it?
Before coming to UT Dallas, uh, I was an IT consultant. I worked with companies like Ericsson, Capgemini before I came here. The good thing was I was always working on things that involved people. So whether it is working with different sets of folks, I mean, it was not just, okay, take care of the technicalities of a project, from a software perspective, but, there was a lot of people management, strategy management, execution, all that. This requires people. And I was like, this is a good life. But I think UT Dallas opened my eyes towards what you could do by giving. And when I say UT Dallas, I would give a lot of credit to ISA. My times in ISA was the start of what it really means to do something for others on a daily basis. It's not a one-off.
Yeah.
There were days I would factor my academic life around what was happening with ISA. And there were several days like that, sometimes several weeks like that. I remember summer of 2015, 2 pickups were done before 2 exams. You do a pickup, take an exam, go to another pickup. But you know what? I felt that was definitely good experiences in the formative years of what I feel as the start of my career research. That started with ISA for sure. Every role that I've done has, of course, made the scope bigger. Now, when I look at my current role, there are several things where you're doing things directly with students, you're doing things with your companies, you're doing things with your colleagues, faculty, and staff.
Mm-hmm.
I was joking with my vice dean the other day. I'm like, to be honest, whenever I leave the dean suite, I'm the last one to leave and you have to lock it. It's like, I wish there was a shutter I could just close down to truly shut the shop down for the school. Because that's how I feel. I feel like this is, even if there is an AC blowout somewhere, even though I don't have to fix it, and if it affects me, that something in my screw is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started seeing this as, this looks like my, it's like my family business. And I feel that can only happen, when there's trust on the other side as well. My bosses and Dean, they've taken that chance on me to give me the opportunities to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how my brain runs now. I look at the school, of course, as a school, it's a great place to do stuff, but it's a family enterprise now, rather than just a place where I work and pick up the check. the paycheck. There are days when suddenly, I get this, like, the salary email or the message,
Mhm.
and I'm surprised that, oh, the whole month went by. Wouldn't even realize. But that can only happen if you're in a high velocity organization where lots of good things happen. So
Yeah.
it's a good place.
I think that's what a community does to you, right? It makes
It does.
you like families.
It is. It is. Community service is a family business. It is the first thing.
With the current market and the rapid technological changes that are happening, how do you think a student should prepare themselves? And how do you think the university could prepare their students for such market?
It has always been about skills. It's never, nobody has given you a job because they just wanted to give you a job so that you can pick a paycheck.
Yeah.
It has always been about skills. It has been about people who can contribute in a meaningful way. I feel students should be more invested in upskilling. And when I say upskilling, it's not just about doing some, linear things. With AI, a lot of changes are happening, but those changes are happening on things which are very linear in nature. If I could define my job in 4 steps, then that's a job for AI, not for a human.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to develop skills, cross-functional skills. You have to develop understanding of businesses. The mashup between technical skills and business skills is very, very critical right now.
Yeah.
I feel, we have been talking about this for so long with our students that how, school prepares you for both. But in terms of it being a critical need, it is a critical need right now. So students need to understand what is right.
Mm-hmm.
Be very attentive in your classes because your classes are trying to teach you stuff that is relevant and that's current. If you have a 2 hour, 45-minute class, do not have any distraction in those 2 hour, 45 minutes. Because if you're distracted, you're doing other things. Then you know what? It will take you twice the time to cover what was done in that class. That's one. Second is industry engagement. Never before we have had so many companies coming to our universities, our classrooms. Take advantage of that time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you stop having fun, stop going to the movies, stop hanging out with friends. Do all of that. But your time that you're spending on campus is very critical. And this is a big metroplex to network, carry business cards. For $15, $20, you can get 200, 250 of them. It's a very good investment, not very expensive. Get those. Get a set of formal clothes. I'm not saying that you have to wear 3-piece suits all the time, but something which is professional. And go to events. There are too many events happening in your vicinity. And if you cannot do those events here in Dallas, then where else will you do it? So it's find ways to keep yourself connected, upskill yourselves. Competition is another good thing. Workshops is another good thing. Because in a short span of time, you could do a lot that you may not have done over weeks or probably months. So it goes back to how you are making yourself better because the industry is looking out for the right talent. They are still looking out for people who add value and they want to bring those folks. Don't hide. Be out. Be in front of these people.
Thank you for your advice, Professor. And it's about time we wrap up the conversation.
Okay.
So we have a quick rapid fire.
Okay.
But you have to answer the question in a when.
Okay.
So first one word to describe IC.
Great.
Favorite pastime.
Food.
Binge watch or read a book.
Binge watch.
Do you like wearing suits or do you have to do it?
I love it.
Bollywood versus Hollywood.
Hollywood. Hollywood movies dubbed in Hindi. How about that?
Delhi or dance?
Okay. This is 50-50.
Choose between student life versus professional life.
Both lives were good, but you're always a student, and it is worth the having a job at the same time.
All right. So, thank you, Professor, for your time and energy. It's been an honor to have you here for our first episode. And we would also like to thank Crow Museum for supporting us by providing us with the space for us to film this podcast. Especially, we would like to thank Sarah. And finally, to our wonderful, hardworking team, thank you for making this happen. And Rashan, our photography officer, thanks to you, we're doing the first episode today. And see you in the next episode.
Like, share, subscribe, and comment.
Bell icon ko diba naman?
Hey guys, it's a wrap.
Okay, good.
It was really good. On my way.
Let me have my cold coffee. That is what it was supposed to be. Is that coffee? Should have said this on podcast. This is the best, cheapest way to get rid of your fat on the liver.
It's still rolling. We got it.